So, this beast here is my Canon Pixma Pro-200 printer. If I was in the market to buy a printer, it probably wouldn't be this one. It would probably be either the Pro-1000 or the Pro-300. And the main difference between this and those printers is that this is a dye-based ink rather than a pigment-based ink that the other two have. The difference between the other two is the Pro-300 is an A3+ printer like this one, and the Pro-1000 will print up to A2. Now with printers with dye-based inks, it's not all bad news and storm clouds. You still get some really nice images that'll last. It's just, yeah, limited to certain paper stocks because the dye-based inks don't work on all papers, whereas the pigment-based inks tend to. So it does rule out a lot of paper stocks that I'd like to try. So there's a lot of stuff from Ilford I'd like to use on a printer. Unfortunately, I've tried. It doesn't work on this printer. But there are a lot of Hanamiel stocks that I really quite like and I've taken to using instead. So you're probably asking, well, you've just told us not to buy this printer, why do you have it? It's because I won it. I'm a prize-winning photographer of all things. I won this from winning the landscape category of Auckland Camera Centre's annual photo comp back in 2021. Shout out Auckland Camera Centre. And yeah, so this was a prize. So quite a cool thing to have. Somewhat of a curse as well, but that aside, let's get into it. For the record, the image that I shot that won this printer, I'll throw up on the screen now. It's a shot I took on film on Ilford Delta 100, a nice long exposure of the Taupo tree and some pretty shitty weather. So that's on screen now, and yeah, let's move on. Before we go any further, if you're here to learn about printing with the Canon Pro-200, run for the effing hills. This is the last place you should learn about that. I've had it a couple of years, but I'm not a full-time printer, and I certainly don't make a living by selling prints that I've done myself. So yeah, I'm still fumbling my way through it. Plenty of other resources here on YouTube to figure out exactly how to get the best out of that printer, and this is certainly not the place. That said, I'm going to probably go through a few test prints. We're going to try a few different papers and see which image works best on each print. And on that, the whole point that we're doing this print is because this year I joined a few Discord servers centered around photography, and the Landscape Photographers Worldwide is one I spend a bit of time in. I'm more of a lurker, I'm not much of a poster, but I just generally just read what everyone's up to and learn from them. But they apparently hold a Secret Santa for an 8x10 print every year, and it's just like, yeah, I'll get in on that. So the whole premise of that is you sign up, you send an 8x10 to someone worldwide, and you'll get one in the mail yourself. So yeah, cool concept. I thought I'd definitely jump in on that. So the guy that I've been sent is a lad by the name of Ben Wickington. He's over in Australia, so it's nice for shipping. So let's check out his Instagram. We'll do a bit of stalking and see what he's into and see if that can inform the decision of which print we decide to give him. Okay, so let's do some stalking. Here is Ben's Instagram. Oh yeah, some awesome astro there, that's cool. It's got a landscape, some drone shots, waterfalls, forest. So yeah, go follow Ben and we'll see what sort of image we can print for him. Right, so I'd like the image that I'm going to print for Ben to be one that I've taken this year, and despite my library and Lightroom telling me that I've taken nearly 9,000 images this year, which is insane, but there's a few time lapses in there, so that's probably contributing 3,000 or 4,000 images to it. But I would probably consider just 3 of those shots worthy of printing, I think, ignoring the cherry blossom stuff that I do on 35mm. So these are the 3. We have this one here. This is a long exposure I took at Bethells Beach on the west coast near Auckland. I actually have this printed myself in full A3 Plus, and yeah, printed on good old Canon. It's on some really nice Hanamill textured William Turner, I think it's called, paper, and one of my favourites from this year. And then next we have this foggy tree. So this shot, taken back in March, ended up to be part of a bit of a series. I did a whole lot of foggy trees, like lone foggy trees like this, for quite a while, a good part of the year, of a bunch of this type of image, but this one's definitely my favourite. Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of black and white, and if we go back to Ben's profile, there's not much black and white here, if at all. So yeah, it might be a chance to give him something a little bit different, maybe inspire him to go do some black and white himself, or biff the image in the trash. And then finally, because he does have some astro here, we have this shot here from the Coromandel. Does fit a lot of some of his stuff, especially the stuff he's got pinned to the top of his profile. Those are the 3 images. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do test prints of all 3 on different types of paper. So we'll see which images respond to which different types of paper, and yeah, we'll pick out a winner and send that on to Ben. Hopefully he likes them. Now, the easy route would be to send him something I already have printed. I do have a bunch of prints in 8x10 ready to go, but then what else would I do a video on? So yeah, go through the whole process of doing a print, but there is definitely a link in the description below for my print store, so go check it out. Let's talk about the paper stocks I've got to choose from here. So as previously said, I can't use 99% of Ilford stock, so I do have a limited choice of stock, probably excessive actually, but we'll go through what I've got here. So first up, good old Canon Photo Paper Pro Luster. Quite a nice and fairly cost-effective paper. Nice luster finish to it, and yeah, it comes up really good behind glass. These Epson papers I've bought for a special project, so we won't be using those. These are a nice matte finish, very smooth, but yeah, more on that project in another video. Now, on to the Hanamill stuff. I'm probably saying that wrong. So, as you can see, I'm a bit of a fan of the Hanamill paper. Pretty pricey stuff, but man, when you get a print that just suits that paper, it's just worth it, every cent. So we've got Photorag Metallic. Now this stuff, I've really gotten the best out of it using black and white, so I really think the foggy tree shot will look best on that one. Not to say it's not going to look good on the other ones, but I think the colour images, I've not really dialed that paper in for colour yet, so yeah, I still struggle getting the colour right on that one. We have Photorag Pearl, so this is more of a smoother finish, and we have Photorag Satin, so this has more of a texture to it. I quite like that one. And then finally we have German etching. So this is a very heavy, matte, heavily textured paper, much like the William Turner. This one I'm not sure is going to be the one. The Bethells Beach shot might show up best on this one, but it'll be interesting to see how the others respond to it as well. So that's our choices, and this is just extra metallic just because I really like it. And yeah, as I said, I have a whole bunch of prints in my store, and quite a few of them are based on that paper. So yeah, we'll see which image responds to which paper the best, and go from there. So there is our German etching. So I'll take a closer look at these later. So first one done, let's move on to the other two. So that one there is the Photorag Satin. Already looking sort of punchier and contrast here. Quite like that already. And so yeah, on to the last one, and we'll see how it looks. There we go. So that's the pearl. Pearl looking a lot more contrasty. It's obviously a more smooth finish, but we'll add that to the pile. Now we'll look on to the black and whites. So as you can see here, it's been quite a printing session. I saved you the boredom of having to watch me print through every single one, but here they all are laid out. Some issues with some of these prints, but I'll cover that in the next bit. Okay, so let's get into the image review. We'll start with the Astro image, mainly because I don't think that's the one I'm going to send them. To me, there's a clear favourite too, and the Astro image is not in that. So we'll start over here with the worst of the Astro images. So this is the Photorag Metallic. So you can see it's quite glossy. The image itself is just washed out. Like I've said, I really struggle getting colour images printed on this paper, so yeah, unfortunate, but I suspected as much, so we'll move on from that one. Next up was the Photorag Pearl. Come up pretty good. Nice contrast, just a hint of the texture in the paper, good detail in the foreground there, so pretty happy with how that one printed. But what was most surprising were the two matte papers. So this one here is the German etching. And I was worried that it was going to lose contrast completely, but no, it's actually come up pretty good. And then the same again with the Photorag Satin. Good shadow details, good contrast, and yeah, actually quite impressed with how those papers responded. I really didn't think the more matte textured papers would suit the Astro image quite as well as they did. So moving on from those, just get those out of the way. We will go on to the Bethel's Beach image. So the Bethel's Beach image I didn't do a test print of because I have done a few prints of it before. So this one here, you'll see is a full page. It's not 8x10. And again, the color images on this paper I'm really struggling with. Actually doesn't look too bad on camera there, but in person it's fairly washed out. Really lacking in the color and contrast. So that one was pretty quickly ruled out from the get-go. As expected, the Photorag Pearl gave the most contrast and saturation. It's come up pretty good. I do notice a little bit of banding in the foreground just because it's so dark there, but it's one of those things that once you see it, you can't unsee it. But yeah, the colour and the contrast on that one's pretty good. As suspected, the real matte finishes on these guys really suits this image well. So this one is the German etching. Really quite like how that's come up on there. Slight issue with the print on that one. There was obviously a hair or a bit of dust on the paper before it went through the printer. So it's sprayed ink on top of it, and then that's come off and left a bit of a gap. So that's unfortunate for that print. And then the Photorag Satin. So this one really is a cross between the German etching and the Photorag Pearl. So it's got the colour and the contrast of the Photorag Pearl, but the texture of the German etching. So I really quite like how this image has come up on this paper, so pretty happy with that one. Between that and the William Turner paper that I have on my big print on the wall, I think that's a favourite. And then finally on to the black and whites. Now I thought the metallic Photorag was going to be my favourite for this. It's nice. It's lacking the contrast of the other papers, and yeah, I really thought this was going to be the winner, but when I saw two of the others, it's come up less favourable actually. The common theme for the Photorag Pearl is more contrast. It's obviously a smoother paper. The blacks are a lot blacker. It's okay for this. I think the texture of the other papers helps with the white part of the upper part of the sky, whereas on the Photorag Pearl, because there is no texture there, you kind of lose those details. Finally, I'm torn between the last two. So the German etching has come up pretty good, nice and contrasty funnily enough, but quite liking that shot on this paper. That texture in the sky really helps with that really white area. And same thing with the Photorag Saturn, so that's come up pretty cool as well. So I really quite like those photos on this paper, and I'm thinking my pick for the one to send to Ben is going to be either of these two, and I think I'm leaning towards the German etching, so I'm going to trim this up because this is on an A4 piece of paper, so the rest were done on letter sized, but the German etching paper I have is an A4, so I'll trim this up to 8x10 and send that on to him. So Ben, hope you like it. That's your shot there. Now the rest of these images here that do not have flaws, so I'll reprint the Bethel's Beach on the German etching. I'll reprint the Bethel's Beach on the Photorag Pearl to try and see if we can eliminate that banding, and the rest of these prints are going to be in my store for sale as just one-offs. So if you're interested in purchasing one of these, they'll be in the store. There'll be a link in the description, and yeah, check them out. Other than that, thanks for watching. Go check out the Discord group. Again, a link in the description for that as well. And yeah, see you in the next video. One last thing. During the filming of this video, my poor X-T4 gave up the ghost. Fujifilm NZ were kind enough to hook me up with a replacement while that one's been sent off to repair. So thank you so much, Fuji, much appreciated, and allowed me to finish this video at least anyway. So cheers guys, on to trimming that photo.